One, right? Think about that. The man has no backbone. He is a two-faced, two-time loser coward who we can't let anywhere near the nomination, let alone the governor's office. It is that important, this election. So make sure we let everybody know independent voters can vote. Now, here's another thing. Now, you know, there are actually 5 candidates on the Republican side. It's me, John, and Jack that you've heard of, and then there are 2 other characters. One guy, funny story, putting up signs all around my house in my neighborhood in the basement. I gotta love that. I had never heard of Mario Kranjak until I see the signs all up and down my street. You gotta love them. But let me just say this in as direct a way as I can say. He is such a liar, it is gross. Liar, gross, no integrity. Let me tell you his latest attack. Now, I don't think I have to tell anybody here that I'm endorsed by National Right to Life, New Jersey Right to Life. I have been a pro-life advocate for my entire career. My pro-life credentials publicly go back literally 25 years that I've been working with Marie Tazy and New Jersey Right to Life. I'm actually the MC of their banquet every year. So I've been to all, and Jody and I have traveled around the state with the pregnancy resource centers, etc. But Mario Kranjak, who, by the way, really quick, just want to tell you, I saw him at an event, and he pulled me aside. He had a couple of choice words that I won't repeat. But then he said, you know, how come you never had me on your radio show? I said, because I don't know who you are. So he didn't like that. But he's out there telling people that I support abortion up to birth. Here's why. What? I did an interview and I was asked about a bill that some Republicans support for a 20-week ban on abortion. And I said, the Republicans who are putting this forward, it's laughable. Because I asked the question, where were they when Chris Smith was championing a 15-week ban federally? Where were they when we were going to pregnancy resource centers to actually empower women and give them a real choice? Where were all of those Republicans at the Right to Life banquets that I'm at every single year? I never see any of them, but they're there to check the box and say, oh, we supported a 20-week ban, therefore send us money and votes. I think they're all a bunch of hypocrites and liars, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. It's enough. It's enough. So let me be very clear. I am the only actual pro-life advocate and champion in this race, period. Period. We will support our pregnancy resource centers. I will use the line item veto and pull out that Sharpie, it'll be red though, as we red line item veto all funding to Planned Parenthood. It ends when I'm governor. It ends. Now, there are probably a few other misconceptions. Oh, I know. I love this one. This is thanks to Jack. Thank you, Jack, for giving me this opportunity. There are mailers. Did anybody get the mailers? All right. Did anyone bring them? Because I brought my Sharpie to sign them. If you brought them, I will sign them. The mailers and the TV commercials on Fox and Newsmax would lead you to believe that I support amnesty for illegals. That is also entirely untrue. Now, how do we know that? Because I have a 12-year public history on radio and television, and I have never wavered from my position that we need a strong border and we do not grant amnesty to criminal aliens, period. I have never wavered from that. Here's what I did say, and they took 15,000 hours and they pulled this little clip. It was 27 seconds where I said pathway to citizenship. I did. Here's what I was answering, the question that they cut out. The question they cut out was, if somebody is here on a legal visa and they're working hard and they have a wife and 2 kids in the schools and they're paying the mortgage and paying the taxes and they have no criminal record, but they ran afoul of our very broken legal system, should they have a pathway to stay in the country? And I said, yes. Of course. So, right, most people agree with that. You know what we call that? Common sense. Common sense.
Right.
So, if we are going to take back New Jersey for normal families and good people with moral character, we have to get through the lies and get to the finish line tomorrow. This is not over until the last vote is counted, period. Now, I will tell you, we're feeling pretty good because the only two polls, and remember, President Trump, yes, I was disappointed, he endorsed Jack. That's true. But a couple of things you need to know about that. Number one, the poll that President Trump endorsed on was paid for by Jack Ciattarelli. And it was conducted by this, let's just say, less than stellar pollster who predicted Kim Guadagno was going to win big in 2017. Okay? That's about all you need to know about that poll. But the bottom line on this, and I want you to know this, and I think this is important, and you should share this, and we should talk about this. Because you know me, if you listen to me on the air, you know I hit issues head on. You know I was with you during the fight for medical freedom. Right? You know I was with you. I was with you in the fight against pornography in our schools. I was with you and am with you in the fight for parental rights and promoting small business. Never wavered from that. Let me say this. I've been a Trump supporter since 2015 when he came down the escalator. I've had the privilege of voting for President Trump 6 times. 3 primaries, 3 generals. You know who can't say that? Jack Ciattarelli. However, there were some times where I thought it was appropriate to disagree with the president. And I did. I thought he should have fired Fauci in the spring of 2020. I think he should have fired Birx and Wray and rooted out the deep state. He should have mobilized the National Guard to stop Black Lives Matter when they were burning down our cities, taking lives, endangering law enforcement, all of that. The president learned from those mistakes because now he's stuck with what's going on in L.A. But we met 2 weeks before he endorsed Jack. And he wanted me to say I was wrong to disagree with him. And I wouldn't. So I lost an endorsement because I refused to give up my independent thinking and that right of every American and duty of every leader to not just follow along like you're in a cult and stand up for what's right, even if it means disagreeing with the guy you support nearly 100%. It's that simple. So we lost the endorsement, we're going to win the election, and then we're going to have Donald Trump in here, in New Jersey, to help us win in November. Period. We're here.
Right there.
But remember, the other poll, don't forget that other poll that they had only 200 Republicans sampled in. I think I was down like 120 points. I was in some new weird math level, maybe a negative number. We ignore that. Every stop we make, 30, 40, 50, 100 people, we're hitting county after county after county. We started in Middlesex. And by the way, if you don't know the story of Middlesex County, and if you need a reminder as to how important this primary is, that we did a Facebook Live, more than 50,000 people tuned in, which was pretty amazing, to save a family farm, 21 acres in Cranberry. It's a 175-year-old family farm that the council is trying to seize through eminent domain. It is absolutely awful, should not be happening. Now, they tried this in Monmouth County with the airport, and I met with Alan Antaki, the owner of the airport, and this was Tom Arnone, a really bad guy. If you get anytime you see his name on a ballot, vote for anyone running against him. Tom Arnone, if you're listening, Tom, you are arguably one of the worst public servants that this state has ever seen. You are a complete disgrace. Now, I say that because he gave an interview, and I want you to know this. He gave an interview to NJ.com, and they asked him, why was the commissioner board trying to seize this private family airport, Monmouth Executive Airport? You know what he said? He said, it's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time that I don't run an airport from the commissioner's office. What? That's what an elected official said of a family business in New Jersey. So when I tell you, now remember, do I need to remind anybody what party Tom Arnone is in? He's a Republican. So don't be fooled by these fraudsters who pose as Republicans and act like they support small business, act like they support the faith community, act like they support parental rights and medical freedom and economic liberty and prosperity. They don't. They support themselves. So the reason we got into this race, it's been 3.5 years, but the first 2 years, I wasn't running for governor. The whole idea was just to build a movement of common sense principles so that maybe if the Republican Party had a qualified candidate in 2025, we could win and start winning legislative seats and more council seats and mayors, etc. And what happened? The backroom lobbyists decided they were going to run Jack again. And I wasn't going to stand for it. I wasn't going to stand for it because it's too important. We not only need a Republican in the governor's office, we need the right Republican. We need the strong, courageous, knowledgeable. Thank you. Hey, real quick, can you do me a favor? Because as I'm thinking of this, as I said 3.5 years ago, we had no intention of running. I just want to point out Bruce and Katie, who own this bar, and they own the North Brunswick Pub. Let's hear it for them. If you go to the North Brunswick Pub, there is a sign at the front door walking in that was done in March of 2020, and it says, vote for New Jersey 101.5's Bill Stadia for governor. This is 2020. Bruce was the first person that put the idea out there. Bruce took us a while, baby, but here we are. Here we are. God bless you. Thank you. So look, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I want you to know this from the heart, that Jody and I and our whole family are so blessed. So blessed for everybody that has walked with us, that's put on a red shirt. So blessed for everybody that has been here. Go right ahead. I'm thinking that might be a Jack voter. Not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure. I don't know. I'll tell you. As long as they're spending their money in great small businesses, who cares? We love it. Let's hear it for them. Love it. But I want you to know that, as you can hear, I'm starting to lose my voice, but this has been an incredible journey, and it's because of all of you. It's because all of you who had the courage to stand up to the backroom establishment Republicans who threatened you and came after you and posted nasty stuff about you and your family and your businesses. They've tried to shut people down. This has been a war over the past couple of years, and I just want all of you to know, I know how much of a sacrifice you all made. And we're in this for you and for us, as the people that deserve real leadership in New Jersey. I'm tired of settling and holding my nose and saying, why do we have to compromise year after year? I am the real deal. It's time to send in the Marine. I won't let you down. Let's win tomorrow. We all know. Let's make it happen.